Imagine this. Someone says something cruel to you. Maybe it's a person you trusted. Maybe it's a stranger online. Maybe it's someone who was supposed to love you, and you feel it. That familiar tightening in your chest. That heat rising behind your eyes. That voice in your head that starts replaying the moment over and over and over again. Most people live their entire lives trapped in that loop. One comment, one look, one moment of disrespect, and their entire day is gone. Their peace stolen. Their energy handed to someone who probably forgot what they said before they even finished saying it. But what if that couldn't happen to you anymore? Not because you stop feeling, not because you become cold or distant or numb, but because you become something else entirely. Something the Stoics called invictus, unconquered. Marcus Aurelius ruled the most powerful empire in the history of the world. He faced betrayal from people he trusted. He faced criticism from people he respected. He faced loss that would have broken any ordinary man. And yet, he wrote in his private journal, words that were never meant to be published, words that were just for himself. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. He wasn't performing strength. He wasn't pretending. He had actually built something inside himself that the outside world simply could not touch. And today, we are going to build that same thing in you. 10 Stoic principles, not theories, not abstract philosophy, weapons. Weapons that will make it impossible for people, situations, or words to ever truly hurt you again. Stay with me, because by the time this video ends, you will never see pain the same way again. And if this kind of wisdom speaks to you, if you're someone who is serious about building an unshakable inner world, hit the subscribe button right now. It costs you nothing, but what you'll gain here is everything. The pain is never in the event. It's always in your interpretation. Let's start with the truth that most people spend their whole lives running from. Nobody hurts you. Let that land for a moment. Nobody, not your ex, not your parent, not your coworker, not the stranger who insulted you online. Nobody hurts you. What hurts you is the story you tell about what they did. Epictetus, a man who was born a slave, a man who had every reason to be broken by the world, said this: "Men are disturbed not by the things which happen, but by the opinions about the things." Think about that. Two people can experience the exact same event, the same harsh words, the same rejection, the same betrayal. One person collapses, replays it for weeks, lets it redefine how they see themselves. The other person pauses, breathes, and moves forward. What was the difference? Not the event, the interpretation. When someone criticizes you, your mind immediately writes a story. They think I'm worthless. I must have failed. Everyone probably feels this way about me. But here's what the Stoics knew that modern psychology is only now confirming. That story is almost never true. It's a fiction, written by your wounds, narrated by your fears, published by your ego, and you've been living inside that fiction as if it were reality. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment. At any moment, you have the power, right now, to revoke the story, to look at what happened and ask a different question. Not, why did they do this to me? But what story am I telling myself about this, and is that story actually true?" This is the first principle. The pain is never in the event. It is always, always in the interpretation. And the interpretation belongs to you. What they think of you is none of your business. There is a prison that most people check themselves into voluntarily. Every single day, it has no walls, no bars, no locks. And yet, it is one of the most suffocating prisons a human being can live inside. It is called the need for approval. We wake up in the morning already performing, choosing what to wear based on what others might think, choosing what to say based on how others might react, editing ourselves, shrinking ourselves, reshaping ourselves, all to manage the opinions of people who are too busy managing the opinions of other people to even notice us. Marcus Aurelius saw this clearly. He wrote, I have often wondered how it is that every man loves himself more than all the rest of men, but yet sets less value on his own opinion of himself than on the opinion of others. Read that again. You love yourself more than anyone, and yet you trust everyone else's opinion of you more than your own. How did this happen? It happened because somewhere early in your life, you learned that love was conditional, that belonging required performance, that you had to be a certain way to be accepted. And so you built a self designed to be approved of, not a self designed to be real. The Stoics called this living according to other people's ruling faculty, allowing someone else's mind, someone else's mood, someone else's bad day to determine your inner weather. Epictetus said, "Seek not that the things which happen should happen as you wish, but wish the things which happen to be as they are, and you will have a tranquil flow of life." What this means for approval is this: people will have opinions about you. Some will be kind, some will be cruel, most will be completely wrong, and none of them, not a single one, has the power to define you unless you hand them that power. Starting today, take it back. What they think of you is their business. What you think of yourself, built on your values, your actions, your character, that is yours. And no opinion, no matter how loud, can touch it. Most people who hurt you are bleeding themselves. Here is something that will completely change how you see every person who has ever hurt you. They were in pain, not as an excuse, not as a reason to tolerate mistreatment, but as a truth that sets you free. Think about it. Have you ever lashed out at someone when you were exhausted? Have you ever said something cruel when you were frightened? Have you ever pulled away from someone not because of anything they did, but because something inside you was quietly falling apart? Of course you have, because that is what pain does. It leaks. It spills onto the people closest to us, the people nearby, the people who simply happened to be standing there when the wound finally opened. Marcus Aurelius wrote about this with extraordinary compassion. Whenever you are about to find fault with someone, ask yourself the following question: what fault of mine most nearly resembles the one I am about to criticize? When someone hurts you, they are not operating from power. They are operating from their own unresolved darkness. The person who humiliated you publicly is terrified of being humiliated themselves. The person who abandoned you was abandoned first and never healed from it. The person who criticized you relentlessly has a voice inside their own head that is even more relentless. Carl Jung said, "Knowing your own darkness is the best method for dealing with the darkness of other people." When you understand this, really understand it, something shifts. You stop taking it personally, not because it didn't hurt, but because you now see that the arrow that hit you was never aimed at who you truly are. It was fired blindly from a wound in a direction that happened to be yours. You can feel the sting without absorbing the poison. You can acknowledge what happened without making it mean something about your worth, because it doesn't. Their pain is theirs, and the moment you stop carrying it, you become unthreatenable. Control your inner fortress, and nothing outside can invade. Marcus Aurelius had a concept he returned to again and again throughout his entire life. He called it the Inner Citadel. Imagine a fortress, built not with stone or steel, but with awareness, with discipline, with the daily practice of knowing what is yours to control and what is not. Inside this fortress lives your peace, your values, your judgments, your reactions, your sense of self. And here is the most important thing Marcus Aurelius understood. Nothing outside can breach this fortress unless you open the gate yourself. He wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Most people live without a fortress. They are completely exposed. Every word becomes a weapon that can reach them. Every action from another person becomes a verdict on their worth. Every external event becomes a direct invasion of their inner world. And so they spend their entire lives trying to control the outside, the people, the outcomes, the perceptions, instead of fortifying the inside. But here is the Stoic truth. You will never control the outside, not fully, not permanently. People will disappoint you, situations will collapse, life will not follow your script. But your inner world, your response, your perspective, your values, those are yours, completely, unconditionally, forever. Epictetus, who was literally enslaved, who had no control over his body, his location, his freedom, still said, "No man is free who is not master of himself," because even in chains the inner fortress stood. Begin building yours today. Every time you pause before reacting, you add a stone to the wall. Every time you choose your response instead of being swept away by impulse, you reinforce the gate. Every time you return to your values instead of surrendering to someone else's chaos, you make the fortress stronger. And eventually, you will live inside something that the world, no matter how loud it gets, simply cannot break. The sacred pause, the space where your freedom lies between every action in the world and your response to it. There is a space. Most people don't know this space exists because they've spent their entire lives moving so fast, reacting so automatically, that they've never stopped long enough to find it. But that space, that tiny, almost invisible gap between what happens to you and what you do next, is where your entire life is decided. Viktor Frankl, a man who survived the Holocaust, who lost everything, wrote something that should stop you completely in your tracks. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom, your freedom. Not in what happens to you, not in how people treat you, not in whether life is fair. In that space, in that pause, Marcus Aurelius practiced this pause every single morning. Before the demands of the empire reached him, before the complaints, the battles, the betrayals, he sat with himself. He wrote, he reflected. He prepared his mind to move through the day with intention, not reaction. He wrote, "When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous and surly." Not pessimism, preparation. He wasn't surprised when people acted poorly because he had already anticipated it, already decided how he would respond, already chosen in advance who he was going to be. That is the power of the sacred pause. Here's how to find it in your own life. The next time someone says something that makes your chest tighten, don't speak, don't text back, don't post, don't react. Just breathe. One breath, in through the nose, out through the mouth. In that single breath, you just created the space. You just stepped out of automatic. You just became the author of your response instead of the prisoner of your reaction. One breath. That is where your power lives. Stop fighting what you cannot change. Start mastering what you can. One of the greatest sources of human suffering is fighting reality. Not reality as it could be. Not reality as it should be. Reality as it is, right now, in this moment, exactly as it stands. Someone left you, a door closed, a person changed, a plan collapsed, and instead of accepting what is, the mind goes to war with what happened. This shouldn't have happened. This isn't fair. How could they do this? Why me? And in that war, you are fighting an enemy that cannot be defeated. Because the past cannot be changed. Not by anger, not by grief, not by an endless loop of mental replay. It is done. Epictetus built his entire philosophy on one foundational distinction. What is up to us, and what is not up to us? He said, make the best use of what is in your power, and take the rest as it happens. What is up to you? Your thoughts, your effort, your attitude, your next step, your values, your response. What is not up to you? What people think, what people do, how things turn out, whether life is fair, whether the past was different. When you spend your energy fighting what is not up to you, you exhaust yourself without moving an inch. When you redirect that same energy toward what is up to you, everything begins to shift. Marcus Aurelius lost children. He fought wars he didn't start. He ruled a crumbling empire. And in the middle of all of it, he wrote, accept the things to which fate binds you, and love the people with whom fate brings you together, and do so with all your heart. Not tolerate. Love. Not resignation. Acceptance as the beginning of power. Because the moment you stop wasting energy fighting what cannot be changed, you free up an enormous reservoir of strength, focus, and clarity. And that strength, that focus, that clarity can now be directed toward building something worth building. Your life. your peace, your future. That is where your power lives. Not in the past, not in what they did, in what you do, starting now. Negative visualization, how to become unshockable. The Stoics had a practice that sounds strange at first, maybe even dark, but it is one of the most psychologically powerful tools ever developed for building emotional resilience. They called it premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of adversity. Every morning, before the day began, the Stoic would sit quietly and ask themselves, what could go wrong today? Who might disappoint me? What could I lose? What difficulty might arrive? And then they would mentally walk through it, not to attract suffering, not to live in fear, but to prepare. Because here is what most people don't understand about pain. Half of what makes pain unbearable is the shock. The how could this happen? The I never expected this. The this wasn't supposed to go this way. When you have never considered that something might go wrong, and then it does, you are hit twice. Once by the event itself, and once by the shattering of the reality you assumed was safe. The Stoics eliminated the second blow. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Never let the future disturb you. You will meet it if you have to, with the same weapons of reason which today arm you against the present. By imagining difficulty in advance, you are not becoming pessimistic. You are becoming prepared. You are rehearsing your strength before you need it. So when the moment arrives, and it will, you are not blindsided. You are ready. You have already seen this moment in your mind. You have already chosen how you will respond. You have already decided who you will be inside it. Try this tonight. Before you sleep, spend 3 minutes asking yourself, what is the hardest thing that could happen to me tomorrow? How would I respond? What would the Stoic version of me do? What would Marcus Aurelius say to himself? Then let it go. You are not summoning the difficulty, you are just making sure that if it comes, it finds you standing, not falling. Amor Fati. Learn to love everything that happens to you. There is a concept in Stoic philosophy that took Marcus Aurelius a lifetime to fully master, and when he did, it changed everything. 2 Latin words, Amor Fati, love of fate, not acceptance of fate, not tolerance of fate, not grudging surrender to fate, love. The Stoics believed that everything that happens to you, every loss, every failure, every betrayal, every moment of pain, is not happening to you. It is happening for you. Not because the universe is kind, not because pain is pleasant, but because inside every difficulty lives a lesson, a strengthening, a transformation that cannot be achieved any other way. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "A blazing fire makes flame and brightness out of everything that is thrown into it." He was describing himself. He was describing what he had built through decades of loss and difficulty. A fire so strong that nothing thrown into it could extinguish it. Everything only made it burn brighter. Think about the hardest thing that has ever happened to you. The thing that broke you open. The relationship that ended. The failure that humiliated you. The loss that felt unsurvivable. Now ask yourself honestly, who were you before that? And who did you become after? Because I promise you, the person you are right now, reading these words carrying this strength, was forged in that fire. Not despite it, because of it. Amor Fati doesn't ask you to pretend the pain wasn't real. It asks you to look at the pain directly and say, this happened. I did not choose it, but I choose what it means, and I choose to let it make me stronger. That is not weakness. That is the most radical form of power available to a human being. The power to love your fate, including the parts that hurt, because you trust what they are building in you. Die to who you were and become who you were always meant to be. Here is something nobody tells you about becoming unbreakable. It requires a death, not a physical death. The death of the version of you that needs things to be different in order to feel okay. The death of the version of you that requires approval to feel worthy. The death of the version of you that replays old wounds and calls it memory. The death of the version of you that has been waiting for permission, for safety, for someone to finally understand you before you allow yourself to be at peace. That version of you has to go, not because you are broken, but because you have outgrown it. Marcus Aurelius wrote, Loss is nothing else but change, and change is nature's delight. The caterpillar does not mourn what it was before the cocoon. It simply becomes. And here is what the Stoics understood that takes most people a lifetime to grasp. You are not your past. You are not the things that were done to you. You are not the words spoken over you. You are not the failures that marked you. You are not the identity that pain slowly built around you as a form of protection. You are the awareness underneath all of it. The watcher, the chooser, the one who gets to decide, starting right now, who you are going to be. Epictetus said, "Seek not the good in external things. Seek it in yourself." The unbreakable person is not someone who was never broken. They are someone who was broken, completely, and chose in the rubble to build something the old self never could have built. They found that beneath the wound, beneath the fear, beneath the need for approval and safety, there was something untouchable. Something that was never actually hurt. Something the world had been trying to reach for years and never could. That is you. Not the performing version, not the protecting version, not the shrinking version, the real version. The one that has been waiting underneath all of it. For you to stop running, for you to stop hiding, for you to stop letting the old pain have the final word. It is time. Die to who you were and become who you always were. Live as if nothing can touch the real you. Because nothing can, we have arrived at the final principle, and it is not a technique, it is not a practice. It is not something you do, it is something you realize. And once you realize it, truly, deeply, irreversibly realize it, nothing will ever be the same. Here it is, the real you cannot be hurt. The real you, the awareness behind the thoughts, the watcher behind the emotions, the consciousness that observes every feeling as it rises and falls, that has never been touched, not once. What gets hurt is the ego, the constructed self, the identity built from other people's opinions, early experiences, and survival strategies that may have once protected you, but now only limit you. That constructed self, yes, it can be wounded, but the real you, the one that is watching even as you read these words, that one is untouchable. Marcus Aurelius knew this. He wrote to himself in his private journal, not for history, not for legacy, just for himself. Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking, not in what people do, not in whether the world is fair, not in whether you are approved of, understood, respected, or treated the way you deserve. Within yourself, in your way of thinking. When you truly internalize this, when it moves from your head into your bones, you stop being a victim of other people's behavior. You stop waiting for the world to finally be kind enough for you to feel safe. You stop outsourcing your peace to people who are too lost in their own pain to ever reliably provide it. You become, for the first time, self-sovereign, a person whose inner world is their own territory, governed by their own values, lit by their own wisdom, protected by their own awareness. And from that place, people can say what they say. Life can do what it does. The storms can come. And you stand in the middle of all of it, not because nothing affects you, but because you have built something inside yourself that the world, no matter how hard it tries, cannot break. That is the promise of Stoicism. Not a life without pain. A life where pain no longer has the power to define you. 10 principles. Let's hold them together for a moment. The pain is never in the event. It is in your interpretation. What others think of you is none of your business. Most people who hurt you are bleeding themselves. Your inner fortress is impenetrable if you build it. The sacred pause is where your freedom lives. Master what you can control, release what you cannot. Negative visualization makes you unshockable. Amor Fati, love everything that happens to you. Die to the old self, become who you were always meant to be. And finally, the real you cannot be hurt. Marcus Aurelius didn't write his meditations because he had it all figured out. He wrote them because he was doing the work every single day, just like you are doing now by being here. This is not a destination, it is a direction, and you, by choosing to walk in this direction, have already become someone different than you were 40 minutes ago. Keep going. The world needs people who cannot be broken, who do not add to the pain, but absorb it, transform it, and return it as wisdom. That is your work, that is your path, and you are already on it. Thank you for walking this journey with us. You are part of Stoic Journal, where every step inward leads you forward. Watch the next video on your screen. We will be right here, building the silence that holds real power.